Let's start the party!
Hello, YouTube. This is Larry the Lone Wolf howling through the vast wilderness of the internet. Last time, we covered why Devil May Cry is the most important modern action game ever made and how much it influenced the genre. However, Devil May Cry 3 was arguably the game that made DMC a household name. It was much stronger on narrative, improved the overall gameplay, and most importantly, brought back the style and the tone that fans came to love about Devil May Cry. In today's video, I'll be telling you why I think, at least as objectively as possible, why Devil May Cry 3 is one of the greatest action games ever made. After the lackluster reception of Devil May Cry 2, Capcom decided that Devil May Cry 3 should be developed in a similar manner as the original DMC, with the original development team returning to re-examine the combat system and expand upon it. Speaking of Devil May Cry 2, it was developed by a completely different team, and the game was criticized for making Dante a silent edgelord, toning down the difficulty, lackluster story, and subpar level design. Not to mention, the combat system wasn't as intricate as the first game. With Devil May Cry 3, they brought back everything that fans loved about the first game, full force. On the subject of Virgil, in the first game, it was explained that he was killed by demons and had his soul corrupted by Mundus, which is why he appears as Nello Angelo. Bingo Morihashi, who was one of the writers on Devil May Cry 3, got permission from the series creator Hideki Kamiya to retcon Virgil's backstory and make him a teenager alongside Dante. The game's director, Hideki Itsuno, said he wasn't keen on the idea of Lady killing her father Arkham because he believed that a child shouldn't kill their parent. However, Bingo Morihashi insisted on including this scene in the game alongside Dante defeating Virgil because he wanted the game to portray the themes of familial conflict. It's also worth noting that Morihashi said that writing Virgil's characterization was challenging, but also stated that he loved the idea of Virgil wielding a Japanese katana sword, which would become to be known as the Yamato. If there's a testament to anything in this regard, it's that Virgil is more of a traditional warrior compared to Dante, who uses guns and a one-handed sword. That's why Virgil's my favorite character. Anyway, Capcom would promote Devil May Cry 3's release with a multi-million-dollar television campaign and in video game magazines, which detailed the game's plot and quantity of fighting styles. Devil May Cry 3: Dante's Awakening was released on March 1st, 2005 in North America for the Sony PlayStation 2 and was met with significant anticipation and acclaim for its storytelling, intricate gameplay, and badass soundtrack. However, the original release of DMC3 was met with criticism due to the excessively high level of difficulty to the point where it was considered more frustrating than fun. To mitigate this problem, Capcom released the special edition of DMC3 the following year, which retooled the difficulty, rebalanced the gameplay, added the easy mode, and included Virgil as a playable character. Devil May Cry 3 would also be re-released in 2012 as part of the Devil May Cry HD collection alongside Devil May Cry 1 and 2 for the Sony PlayStation 3 and Microsoft Xbox 360 respectively. Speaking of which, all three of these games saw a re-release on the Nintendo Switch in 2020. The Switch version allowed the player to style switch on the fly and utilized all 5 weapons for the guns and swords as opposed to the older versions where you could only use 2 weapons at a time. In my opinion, if you're playing Devil May Cry 3 for the first time, I highly recommend the Nintendo Switch version as I consider it the definitive version of the game. The game has been very successful since its release and would go on to sell over 2.3 million copies worldwide, including all the different ports of the game. As of 2023, it is widely considered one of the greatest games of all time, and now we are about to go into detail about why Devil May Cry 3, in my opinion, is one of the best action games ever made. The gameplay is one of the vital reasons why I consider this game to be one of the best action games ever made because of what it brought to the table. The intricacy of the combat has been brought back full force from Devil May Cry 1, but has been expanded upon. Dante has the ability to fight with 4 different styles: Trickster, Swordmaster, Gunslinger, and Royal Guard. When you kill enemies in the game with the playstyle equipped, you earn XP to level up your styles and increase your combat potential and unlock new moves. In addition, he can switch between different weapons on the fly, which in turn increases Dante's combo potential. With regards to the fighting styles, they all have their own unique playstyles that cater to the player's style of gameplay. Geez, I never realized I would use the word style so many times in one sentence. But anyway, Trickster is the easiest of the 4 in my opinion. It involves the player having a very balanced playstyle by having the ability to attack and have a dedicated evasion move where Dante can dash up to 3 times and dash in the air. Swordmaster allows Dante to gain more access to unique moves with each of the 5 weapons to increase his combat and combo potential. This playstyle, in my opinion, is suited for players who want to do the most damage imaginable. Gunslinger increases the damage output of Dante's guns and gives him access to allow gun attacks, which again increases his combo potential. Royal Guard is the hardest mechanic in the game, as it involves the player playing very defensively and parrying enemy attacks at the precise timing. The more you parry, the bigger the damage output for Royal Guard becomes. When this happens, you can use what I like to call an almighty push that does a lot of damage. I have been known to kill a ton of bosses with this style. It's the most overpowered fighting style in the game, but the hardest to master. In addition to the 4 styles, Dante has Quicksilver, which allows him to slow down enemies and can attack at normal speed, giving him a battle advantage. Speaking of advantages, Doppelganger allows Dante to create a shadow double to fight alongside him. Devil Trigger makes a return, but Dante doesn't gain access to it until 1/3 of the way into the game. Similar to the first game, you can upgrade it to last longer, as well as attack enemies and taunt them to make the meter grow. Like I said earlier, Virgil is a playable character in the special edition of Devil May Cry 3. He only uses one style called Darkslayer, which is basically his version of Dante's Trickster style. It has evasive maneuvers, and much like Dante's fighting styles, it can also be leveled up twice. He uses 3 weapons, a katana known as Yamato, gauntlets and greaves known as Beowulf, and a broadsword known as Force Edge. Fun fact, that's the same sword Dante uses in the first Devil May Cry that transforms into the Devil Sword Sparta. Finally, Capcom added a survival mode in the special edition called Bloody Palace, which first appeared in Devil May Cry 2, and added 3 boss fights against one of the main characters in the story, Jester, with the first one being mandatory. They also added Gold mode, which allows the player to continue from the last checkpoint without the need of a gold orb. Overall, the gameplay is a vast improvement over the previous entries with an intricate battle system and refined difficulty where it still manages to still be challenging yet fun at the same time. And the style switching and switching weapons on the fly will inspire many other action games, most notably Bayonetta. So it's easy to see why Devil May Cry 3 is considered one of the most influential and greatest action games ever made, because its combat system brought a lot more to the table, more so than the first one, and continued to inspire more various action hack and slash games from this point forward. And now, time to move on to the story. Devil May Cry 3 begins a decade before the events of the first Devil May Cry, with Dante receiving a call from a customer in his unnamed shop, but he emphasizes that he has not yet opened for business. A stranger unexpectedly arrives at his door. This tall stranger came with an invitation and a challenge from Dante's twin brother, Virgil. At the mere mention of his brother's name, Dante becomes hostile and confronts the demonic forces that his brother has dispatched to test him. As Dante's battle concludes, an enormous tower known as the Temene Gru bursts from the city's ground. Both Virgil and the towering stranger, who goes by the name Arkham, are located at the very top of this tower. Virgil's demeanor emanates a powerful presence, and he dispatches one of the more powerful demons that Dante was unable to slay in their initial confrontation. Virgil's goal is to lure Dante into a one-sided conflict and steal half of the perfect amulet passed down from their mother in order to open the gate to the demon world via the Temene Gru Tower. Dante scales the Temene Gru, killing and acquiring weapons from powerful demons' souls along the way. He then meets an unidentified woman riding a motorcycle who then departs before Dante can figure out who she is or why she's there, leaving her identity and purpose unknown. The two briefly cross paths again, but the woman who despises demons reacts hostilely towards Dante. As Dante ascends to the summit of the tower, Virgil is there to greet him. They hold a brief conversation before engaging in battle. The distinctions and parallels between the two DMC characters are clear in this conversation. Both individuals have taken separate routes in life as a result of the tragedy that befell their family, which marks the beginning of their differences. Virgil, as a child, felt powerless to save his family's destruction in the face of the demonic hordes, thus he pursues power at the cost of his humanity. He accepts Sparta's legacy of power, but not the responsibility to utilize it correctly. Meanwhile, Dante looks to be hesitant to take action in his life. He has no aspirations, ignores his family's legacy, and pursues demons and fights Virgil merely because, in his own words, he does not like him.
I just don't like you, that's all.
Dante, unlike Virgil, watched the death of his mother and others he once cared about and chose not to care about anything. They have a fight, which ends with Virgil victorious.
Might controls everything, and without strength, you cannot protect anything, let alone yourself.
He stabs Dante with rebellion, Dante's only keepsake from their father, then steals Dante's half of the amulet and leaves. Dante is left broken and defeated on the Temene Gru. Virgil is on the verge, no pun intended, of opening a portal to the world of demons, acquiring Sparta's power and unleashing hell on humanity. Dante was unsuccessful, but his story is far from over. When the sword inside Dante's chest came into contact with his demon blood, it transformed slightly, as did Dante. When bursting with demonic power, Dante temporarily transforms into a hellish demon form known as Devil Trigger. Dante continues to oppose his brother and descends the Temene Gru, bringing him one step closer to attaining his full potential and clashing with Virgil. After being swallowed by a flying whale known as Leviathan, Dante encounters the mysterious woman again at the base of the tower. They temporarily defeat a swarm of demons while he inquires about her identity. She responds to his question with indifference, so Dante gives her the name Lady.
Whatever, lady.
Dante then flees the scene in search of Virgil. Lady is a crucial character in DMC3. Despite the fact that she is unplayable, one could argue that she is a protagonist on par with Dante or Virgil. Lady's past is progressively disclosed to the player throughout the game, and while she is entirely human, it is evident that she has just as much at stake in the events of the game as the twins do. This aggressive young woman, armed with a rocket launcher and a bayonet, is the daughter of Arkham, a man who sacrificed both his humanity and his wife in pursuit of power. As Dante pursues Virgil, Lady, whose birth name is Marianne, seeks vengeance on Arkham for the death of her mother. Lady's motivation is not rooted in simple aversion. Instead, it stems from a profound sense of duty.
Well, we have something in common. I have a dysfunctional family too.
And what would you know about family? You're a demon. This is my father. My family. This was all supposed to end by my hand.
She comes just in time to see the twins' second battle, which ends in a draw thanks to Arkham's interference. Despite having been seemingly killed by Virgil, he reappears and confesses that he has been manipulating all three of them the entire time. The clown character who had been assisting Dante throughout the game is known as Jester, and we learn at this point in the plot that it was Arkham's demon form the entire time. Using both halves of the amulet, Sparta's blood and Lady's blood, now revealed to be the descendant of a priestess sacrificed by Sparta to shut Hell's gates, Arkham unlocks the gateway to Hell in an attempt to steal Sparta's power. Dante returns to the tower and encounters Lady for the third time. Dante, inspired by Lady's example, decides to stop Arkham and his brother and to continue on Sparta's heroic legacy. Lady, on the other hand, is tenacious and refuses to surrender her goals despite being clearly unqualified for the next battle. Lady is a talented demon slayer, although she lacks Dante and Virgil's physical prowess. She had absolutely no chance of success, and she fails despite her courageous fight against Dante for the right to continue. Lady then leaves Dante with her iconic rocket launcher, the Kalina Ann, which is named after her mother, and Dante promises to, quote-unquote, free her father.
Dante. Please. Free my father.
I will, Lady.
He reaches the tower's summit for the third and final time, but is too late to stop Arkham from discovering Sparta's blade, the Force Edge. As he faces Dante, Arkham absorbs Sparta's strength through the sword and adopts the insectoid visage of the demon. The two exchange a brief conversation before Arkham is overwhelmed by Sparta's boundless strength and mutates into a monster mass. After the unexpected appearance of Virgil, the twins join in a final epic battle against the man who would misuse their father's legacy.
Jackpot.
Dante and Virgil defeat the mutant Arkham, reverting to his human form, falling down onto the Temendegru, where his dying body collides with Lady. As Dante and Virgil enter the vortex to Hell in search of the Force Edge and both halves of the perfect amulet, she denounces her birth name and lets go of her past, choosing to go by the name Dante gave to her earlier, Lady. She then executes a regretful coup de grace against her father and proceeds to start grieving, as he was the last remnants of her family that was remaining. This implies that she loved him at some point in her life. Arkham was once a normal man whose life was flipped upside down when he got obsessed with power and grandeur. When it came to attaining power for himself, Arkham would go to any lengths. He fabricated his own death and manipulated his daughter's emotions in order to gain Sparta's power. Without a shadow of a doubt, one of Capcom's best written antagonists. Meanwhile, both Dante and Virgil retrieve their halves of the amulet, but only Virgil makes it to the Force Edge first. The twins battle in a final duel as the portal between both worlds closes, unable to resolve their differences, as Virgil remains set on obtaining all of Sparta's power for his own selfish ambitions. Despite being armed with their father's sword, Dante eventually beats Virgil. He tries in vain to help his brother, but Virgil refuses and throws himself and his amulet deeper into Hell. Dante flees the falling portal and reunites with Lady before it closes. Each is left with a bittersweet sadness as a result of their inability to reclaim the ones they lost to evil. Dante sheds tears for the first time, expressing genuine sadness. Lady notices that somewhere, a devil may cry, which inspires the name of Dante's shop. More demons come from beyond as the two grieve their losses and they prepare for a final battle. If certain requirements are met, Virgil's fate is revealed in an additional scene. He approaches Mundus, his father's old opponent, and charges into a fight with him in the demon world, still gravely weakened but tenacious. His fate is later revealed in Devil May Cry 1.
I should be able to do it too.
Devil May Cry 3 is not just a game, it's an immersive experience heightened by its extraordinary soundtrack. The music, composed by Tetsuya Shibata, skillfully captures the essence of the game and contributes significantly to its overall appeal. The soundtrack features a diverse range of musical styles from heavy metal to orchestral pieces. This diversity mirrors the multifaceted nature of the game, which seamlessly transitions between intense combat sequences and emotionally charged narrative moments. Tracks like Devil's Never Cry and Divine Hate perfectly underscore the high-energy combat scenes, intensifying the player's engagement. The pulsating beats and aggressive guitar riffs synchronize with the on-screen action, creating a symphony of chaos that enhances the overall gaming experience. Dante, as we all know, is a charismatic and rebellious character. The music, particularly in tracks like Dante's Office 7 Hell's Battle, captures his personality. It plays during the beginning. The rebellious undertones in the music resonate with Dante's devil may care attitude, creating a musical identity that is synonymous with the character. Certain tracks such as Dante and Virgil 3 and Temenigru Incantation enhance the exploration aspect of the game. These compositions provide a mysterious and atmospheric backdrop, setting the tone for the dark and supernatural environments Dante navigates through. The use of melodic elements and poignant instrumentation enhances the emotional impact of key story moments, creating a more immersive connection between the player and the game. In Devil May Cry 3, the music isn't just a background element, it's a character in itself, shaping the player's emotions and enhancing every aspect of the gaming experience. Tetsuya Shibata's masterful composition elevates Devil May Cry 3 from a mere game to a symphony of action, emotion, and rebellion. In conclusion, Devil May Cry 3 stands not only as a hallmark within the action hack-and-slash genre, but as a masterpiece that transcends its medium. From the intricate storytelling that weaves a compelling narrative to the adrenaline-pumping gameplay that challenges and rewards players in equal measure, every facet of this game is finely crafted. The characters breathe life into the experience, the music resonates with a symphony of emotions, the visuals create a dark and demonic world, and the replay value remains very, very high for me. At the heart of Devil May Cry 3's brilliance lies in the culmination of the profound character arcs for both Dante and Virgil, echoing through the climactic confrontation between these estranged brothers. From the onset, the narrative traces their diverging paths. Dante, the carefree and rebellious warrior, and Virgil, the stoic and driven seeker of power. Dante's journey is one of self-discovery and acceptance of his heritage. Initially defined by his nonchalant demeanor, the escalating stakes force him to confront the legacy of his demonic lineage. The final battle becomes crucial, where Dante fully embraces his identity not just as a formidable warrior, but as a guardian of humanity, transcending the confines of his devilish bloodline. Conversely, Virgil's arc is one of relentless pursuit of power, driven by a desire to surpass his own limitations. The final confrontation serves as the culmination of Virgil's tragic descent into obsession, revealing the consequences of his unyielding ambition. The consequences of his choices are laid bare, highlighting the price one pays for unbridled pursuit of strength. The battle is not only a clash of swords, but a clash of ideologies, where the consequences of their choices manifest in every strike. In the aftermath, the consequences of their character arcs linger. Dante emerges not only victorious, but enlightened, having reconciled with his past and forged a new purpose. Virgil, on the other hand, faces the repercussions of his choices, leaving players with a painful reflection on the cost of unchecked ambition. Lady's presence in Dante's life brings to light the consequences of his father's actions and the impact it has had on her own family. Her quest for revenge against her father, who had been corrupted by demonic forces, serves as a mirror to Dante's own family history. This connection forces Dante to confront the darker aspects of his lineage and question the choices made by his father. Through his interactions with Lady, Dante begins to realize the profound impact of family dynamics and the responsibilities that come with it. Lady's pursuit of justice and her determination to protect what remains of her family provide Dante with a new perspective on the meaning of family. As he witnesses her struggles and the emotional toll it takes on her, Dante starts to appreciate the value of familial bonds and the sacrifices made for the sake of loved ones. The evolving relationship between Dante and Lady becomes a pivotal turning point in Devil May Cry 3. Dante's initial nonchalant attitude gives way to a deeper understanding of the significance of family, love, and the complexities that come with it. Lady becomes a key figure in Dante's growth, serving as a reminder that family is not only a source of potential conflict, but also a wellspring of strength and support. By the end of Devil May Cry 3, Dante's character arc is enriched with a newfound appreciation for family values. Lady's influence has played a vital role in shaping Dante into a more nuanced and mature character, moving beyond his initial devil may care demeanor to embrace the importance of familial connections in the face of adversity. This transformation sets the stage for Dante's continued development in the series, adding depth and emotional resonance to his iconic character. Devil May Cry 3 encapsulates the culmination of intricate character narratives, leaving an indelible mark on the gaming landscape as a testament to the power of storytelling. A symphony of chaos and beauty, it remains, even objectively, one of the greatest and most influential action games ever made. That's everything I have to say about Devil May Cry 3 in this video, and if this was your introduction to Devil May Cry 3 or the series as a whole, I am very honored to be your introduction. Be sure to let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and don't forget to leave a like on this video and hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell, and be sure to share this video with your family, your friends, or anybody. I will see you guys in the next video, so until then, take care.